Hello everybody and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol Reveals breakdown. We are on day 2 of Ministravaganza and we have some really exciting things that they revealed today, including a bunch of tactics cards, a new rotation, and some tactics card erratas for some existing cards. So I'm really excited to jump into this here. I just finished watching the stream at time of recording, so I'm hopefully going to have this out for you guys a little bit earlier than the video I had yesterday. So really excited. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into all of the new stuff. So the first thing we have here is the first one. This is an Apocalypse Tactics card. It's an unaffiliated card, so if you are choosing to splash Apocalypse, you can bring this card. And it says Apocalypse may spend 4 power to play this card. Choose an allied character. The allied character is KO'd. Remove an activated token from Apocalypse, and then if the chosen character was injured, he gains the stagger condition. This is going to be really good for giving Apocalypse a big, strong swing turn, I think. It's going to be a great way of kind of saying, hey, this turn Apocalypse is going to activate twice and Toad is going to die. They have kind of also loosely confirmed that there's going to be at least 2 threats in his own, or two threats in his own affiliation. So most likely Toad and Honey Badger just being the mutant 2 threats that we have access to, or maybe we'll see some new ones getting revealed. But they did say during the previous stream that you will be able to run 4 Horsemen plus Apocalypse at 16 threats, so there has to be at least two threat options there. The other thing they did mention, and they did confirm, is that Apocalypse is immune to all conditions on his injured side, so if Apocalypse himself is on his injured side, there's no actual downside to choosing an injured character for this, because he will be immune to that stagger condition. So yeah, this is a really solid card for him. The second card they revealed was Survival. This one says during the power phase, and anyone can play this, this is reactive. During the power phase, an allied injured character may spend X power to play this card. X is equal to its threat value. So interesting, it'll scale with the threat of the character playing the card. The character that played this card drops all objective tokens until the end of the first turn this round. That character cannot be damaged by enemy effects, use reactive superpowers, or use reactive team tactics cards. So this is really interesting. You basically make your model immune for a round. They can't really be, or for a turn rather. They can't be interacted with in some of the ways you would interact, notably damage. But they also can't play their reactive abilities, so your opponent's not going to actively be punished for attacking them if they choose to maybe try and throw some conditions on them or something. Uh, they won't be able to play reactive team tactics cards to kind of punish you for that stuff. It's going to be really interesting to see where this kind of comes in. It only works for 1 turn, so this is a great kind of, you didn't have priority, you have a model that's low health, you want to make sure they get to survive and do their thing. You are giving up any objectives on them, so you do have to keep that in mind as well. A few places that could be really interesting. A few of my locals have already mentioned Asgard. I think that's going to be one of the really potentially strong places for it. But we'll have to see where else is going to be good for this. But I definitely think it's going to be for those kind of mid to higher threat characters that are on their injured side, and you really just want to make sure they get one more turn of just murdering stuff before they go off the board. So yeah, going to be a really interesting card. The next one they revealed here is Survive the Night, and this is a little bit of a loaded reveal here because it's also revealing a new affiliation, that being New Mutants. We kind of had a feeling we were going to be getting this, but there was some speculation that it might have been an X-Men leadership versus its own affiliation. So I'm personally really glad to see that it is its own affiliation. Always more for that than adding more things to the affiliations that are already fairly full. So happy to see that. It is a reactive card, and it says after an attack targeting an allied New Mutants character is resolved, the targeted allied character may play this card. So no cost, that's really nice. Choose another allied character within range 2 of the targeted character, so you're going to want to have them close together. And they did actually specify that the leadership for New Mutants will also be encouraging kind of buddying them up, they said. They said the buddy system, so you want at least one of your allies close to you, I guess. The chosen character immediately makes the attack shown above, targeting the attacking enemy character. This attack is Back Off. It is a 3 cost, or not a 3 cost, a range 3, 5 dice physical attack that has an automatic any size push, pushing the target character away small. This is really solid in my opinion. Great way to kind of punish your opponent for trying to finish off one of your models. You shove them away, that can push them off points. Maybe they took out your model and they dropped their objective. Well, now you push them away, so they're not actually going to be able to pick it up. They're going to have to move or send someone else to pick it up. So there's a lot of cool uses for this card. Definitely a big fan. I'm certainly, if I end up playing New Mutants, I'm definitely going to be bringing this card a lot because I do really, really like it. The next card they revealed, they started to reveal some of Mephisto's card, and they made us all relive a terrible, terrible moment. Also, I'm realizing I can zoom in a little more here for you guys. So they have revealed Brand New Day. They're just flying this in the face of us Spider-Man fans here who are still suffering from the events of this. But it is an unaffiliated reactive card. It says when an enemy character would be dazed or KO'd while within range 3 of an allied Mephisto, he may play this card. The enemy character's controlling player chooses one of the following effects. The enemy character is not dazed or KO'd and removes 1 damage, all special conditions, and up to 1 activated token from itself. Additionally, Mephisto gains 2 Devil's Deal tokens and removes an activated token from any allied character, could include himself as well. From what they mentioned, the Devil's Deal tokens are going to be very strong, but they didn't actually say exactly what they do, so we're not 100% sure there, but being able to remove an activated token from one of your own characters is really, really strong, so obviously your opponent's going to have to think very carefully about whether or not they want to pick that option. The other option being Mephisto removes all damage and special conditions from himself and heals or gains 3 power, so that could also be really, really obnoxious. What, they got Mephisto low on health and now he's killing, one of their really important models? Well, you can keep him alive or you can fully heal Mephisto. There's going to be some interesting things there. So yeah, really, really going to be curious to see how they play around with this and where this is going to be strong. Obviously, we don't know what the Devil's Deal tokens do yet, so that's going to be a big factor here. They did reveal another Mephisto card as well, Embrace the Inferno. During the power phase, an allied Mephisto may spend 4 power to play this card. All other characters within range 3 of Mephisto, including allies, gain the Incinerate special condition. This round, when an allied character with the Incinerate condition is attacking, so you actually want your teammates on fire here, it may reroll all of its attack dice. If it does and the attack deals damage, it removes the Incinerate special condition after the attack is resolved. Something I'm just noticing now, not something I didn't notice during the stream, is that it does specify all, not any number. So it's all or nothing on that reroll. You don't get to be selective with it. So it is going to be improving your dice math, but it's not going to be quite as powerful as an any number thing because you do have to reroll your successes as well. At least that's my understanding. So definitely something that is potentially really powerful. Giving everybody effectively a recal on your team is really, really nice, but you are going to have to keep in mind that it is a full reroll, not an any number of dice reroll. So there's a little bit of a drawback to it there. But still, this is going to be really, really interesting. This is going to stack really well with Demons Downtown, which, I would kind of hope Mephisto gets some synergy with that scenario, so that's awesome to see. And just in general is going to be a really, really solid card. So yeah, definitely curious to see how this plays out once Mephisto is actually released. Then we get the really exciting news of a new card rotation. This is something that myself and a lot of other more competitive players have been wanting for a while, something to shake up some of the cards that are really kind of no-brainer picks that are warping the meta in different ways. So there were some interesting choices here. I'm going to go over the ones that I'm personally more invested in myself, and I'll kind of gloss over the other ones. So the first one is Advanced R&D, and I definitely agree with this. I think this one had to be rotated out. Advanced R&D is a really good card, and with some recent new things, notably Wakanda's ability to really abuse that card with their newer card, um, it was time for it to go. It was incredibly powerful. So yeah, glad to see that removed. Aim lackeys, I don't think anyone was playing that, so I'm not too worried about it. Crew of the Milano, though, is a big deal. Guardians losing Crew of the Milano definitely hurts stuff like CGR a lot. I mean, CGR was already kind of hurting, but I think this does open the door for them to be okay with putting more higher threat characters into Guardians. And we know we're going to be getting Nova and Yondu at some point in the future. So definitely that's a good way of kind of, you know, not knocking those characters down before they even hit the table, because we know that Guardians is a really, really strong affiliation. So it makes sense that they're being careful here with how they're willing to roll out new, potentially very powerful characters. They've also removed Deception, but you'll notice it's in yellow here because they have replaced it with a new Tactics card, which they have shown us. That's also true of Exceptional Healing down here. Both of those are really big deals. Deception and Exceptional Healing were both incredibly powerful cards, and if you were bringing the respective models that benefit from them, it was almost a no-brainer. So yeah, seeing those removed and reworked really into new cards is something I'm very much okay with. So very happy to see that. Next, we have Disarm. This one, unfortunately, wasn't seeing much play, and it was in that weird situation of being technically on the restricted list, but it wasn't good enough to be brought there. But if it wasn't there, it would be brought everywhere. So it was one of those really weird ones, and I think, yeah, at the end of the day, removing it might have just been the right call. They also removed Escort to Safety. I think here they were trying to remove a bunch of the cards that kind of just everyone was bringing because they were the easy picks. Similarly for Eyes on the Prize, that's going to hurt Bill's splashability a lot, so that's really nice to see. I think Bill is still a very good model without Eyes on the Prize, but I think we're going to see him splashed a little bit less because he's no longer that easy safe grab. You know, he's still a very bulky model. He's still great at dealing with those big models like the Hulks and the Malekiths and things like that. So he still has a lot of value, but Eyes on the Prize means he's not the immediate first pick for oh, I need a splash. Oh, it's Bill. So very happy to see that as well. Personally, I would have preferred they did something to Bill rather than something to Eyes on the Prize, just because I think having accessible safe grabs in other affiliations is valuable, but I glad they did something. They also removed Face Me, which is a really good card, but I could see having similar issues as Deception and kind of just replacing Deception for a lot of people if that was how that would played out. So makes sense. Heave Ho is one of the ones I don't think was being played all that much, but cool. Inspiring Monologue, Kick 'em While They're Down, Kunlun Training, and Marked for Death, I think we're in the same boat. Mission Objective is interesting to see rotated. That was a big way of getting around This Is a Robbery, which notably has not been rotated, but we'll get to that in a second because there is also an errata document, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it on there. I haven't actually personally looked through that myself yet. But really interesting that they removed that. That's going to be one of that was one of the best ways to get around that card. It was also just a very powerful card in itself. So I'm hoping if since they removed Mission Objective, they've also touched This As a Robbery because that was kind of the best counterplay to it. But we'll see. I do think removing that though is a decent call. It was a card that was definitely in the very significantly played categories, so that's good. No matter the cost makes me sad on a personal level, but I understand it. It was a very powerful card, and there's definitely ways you could have abused it. Not, heck, I was one of those players. I played it with Hulk, so yeah, it's a really really good card. It makes sense that they're getting rid of it. 1-2 Punch, I think, was one of those ones not really anyone was playing. Psychic Shielding Device, Red Room Training, same deal. Smash is interesting because I thought there was a couple places where Smash was kind of cool, and I don't think they're the places that needed the nerfs. Notably, Sentinels and Dormammu really like that card, but sure, I don't think it's really going to change the game all that much. Sucker is interesting because that was a counter to Age of Ultron, but you'll also see Age of Ultron has been removed. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that's that's the world we're living in. We lost the card and we lost its counter, so I guess we're net neutral. Um, sure. Tactical maneuvers, I'll be honest, I couldn't even tell you what that does. I've never seen that card played, so it's gone now. We also lost Trip Up, which again, not very many people were playing it to begin with. It was kind of a cool card, so I guess it's a little sad to see it go. And Warpath, which was a solid card. I didn't see it played as much, and I'm actually a little surprised they got rid of it because I think with some of the cards they removed, it might have started to see a little bit more play. But I'm not entirely opposed to it because I do think it was a very good card. So I think they're trying to kind of shake up what cards we're seeing play just in general. So that one does make sense to remove there. But yeah, this is a really interesting list here. I think there's some picks on here that I definitely wouldn't have called. All of the kind of cards that I wasn't seeing anyways. I don't they did that with the first rotation too, and I don't really get the reasoning behind it entirely, but sure. Um yeah, I think the cards that they hit though that were really relevant, stuff like Age of Ultron, which I didn't spend much time on, but thank God they got rid of Age of Ultron. I'm sorry to all you Ultron players out there, but Ultron 2 is, in my opinion, one of the most negative play experience models to deal with. Just the idea of this model has like a very specific way you can deal with him, and that is the only way you can really deal with him. that never really vibed well for me. So, I hope Ultron 2 is still playable. I do think he could use a little bit of a buff with Age of Ultron gone, but I am very glad to see it gone. I do think that card was kind of obnoxious. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these. I'm really happy with the way with the cards they've chosen to rotate. It'll be interesting to see how things will shake out and what kind of cards will replace some of those cards that I was personally bringing. Stuff like Escort to Safety, Eyes on the Prize, and no matter the cost. Definitely going to have to kind of rethink some of my tactics card selection. Next, we do have the replacement cards for Deception and Exceptional. So the replacement for Deception is Stolen Identity. This is also a Mystique card. And it says choose an enemy character without an activated token within range 4 of this character. If there are no other non-dazed enemy characters within range 2 of the chosen character, you may advance the chosen character its speed towards this character. So basically the exact same card. The only thing that was changed is this without an activated token, which is a big deal. That basically kills the ability to use the card round one. And it makes it a lot easier for your opponent to kind of play around it in future rounds. If they don't want this character to go or to get pulled, they just have to either have another character move within 2 of them, which was the existing counterplay, or make sure they activate with them before Mystique gets a chance to pull them out of position. So I think this gives it a lot better, more accessible counterplay. I think the idea before of, oh, just run like safe grabs that can back up and be within 2 of your allies again was not the most accessible solution. There were some affiliations that were really good at doing that and others that didn't really have anything to do that with. So really, really happy to see that they've kind of made this something that's a little bit easier to play around, but I still think it's a reasonably good card. I'm not 100% sure if it makes the cut all that often anymore. We'll see. It's definitely a lot weaker than it was, but I do think they did the right thing in significantly nerfing the card, and we'll see if this is maybe too much. The next card they revealed here is Instant Recovery. This is an unaffiliated reactive card, and this one's replacing Exceptional Healing. This one says when an allied character with healing factor suffers 1 or more damage from an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, it may spend 3 power to play this card. Remove up to 2 damage from this character. So this is really interesting. Instead of exceptional healing, basically this card is going to allow you to heal back some of the damage you took. So that's really, really cool. I really like the way that works. I think that's a little bit more thematic to what like healing factors actually supposed to be. Yeah, I think this is great. It is a little bit expensive, but the way I kind of see it is they're taking the damage now instead of preventing the damage, and then they're healing it back. So they're going to gain the power for having taken that damage. So it's actually going to end up being cheaper in most instances than exceptional healing would have been. And it's going to be still kind of it's not preventing you from getting one shot, which was something exceptional healing could do. If you were on, let's say, 5 health and someone spiked you out or someone threw a really big attack at you, it's not going to prevent you from just dying to that, but it will prevent you from dying to multiple attacks. It's going to be a lot harder to take out a character if they can heal half of the damage you were doing to them between your attacks. So I do think reactive healing is definitely weaker than what exceptional healing was doing, but still really powerful, and I think there's a lot of potential for this to be really, really good. And then, of course, we have the new errata cards. Now, I'm going to have to play around with the formatting here so this is actually readable. Alrighty, so they errated a bunch of cards here, and I'm really excited to see what they touched here. So the first one we have is Cloning Banks. Oh boy, okay, so this is unaffiliated, it's reactive. During any cleanup phase, an ally Mr. Sinister may play this card. When this card is played, set it near the battlefield instead of discarding it. That's the same. During each cleanup phase, including the one this is played, he may remove his genetic samples and put them on the card. Yep. If this card has been played during any power phase, you can remove it's still half the samples into play within 1 of Mr. Sinister. They gain 3 power and are part of your squad. What actually changed on this? I'm gonna have to pull up the old one. Okay, I don't know if I'm missing something here, but as far as I can tell, this card is the exact same. I don't even see a single word change. The only thing I'm seeing is that this part here used to be 2 paragraphs and now it's 1, and this actually used to be 2 and now it's 1 as well. Or no, this used to be this used to be one and no, that's exactly it. That's all it is this. So I don't know what they changed here. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me know down below if there's something I'm just being stupid about here. Looking at the next one for world domination here, it looks like the only thing they changed is they capitalized the word secure and securing. I'm not seeing any actual changes to this one, but I have scrolled down to make sure that that's not the entire list, and there are ones with actual changes, so I'm just going to verify them before I start reading them out on video here. Okay, so I think my theory for the ones that don't actually look like they've changed is because I'm using Jarvis to check that, and they've all been errated, just haven't had an actual reprint of those. So that's what I think I'm seeing here when I'm looking at these cards, is that they've just been errated from what they had, and Jarvis is just actually representing that. So yeah, I figured that out. I'm only going to talk about the ones that have actually updated here. All right, so I think I found the first one that actually changed here, and it's Ironbound Books of Shuma Gorath. This is the Convocation card. It's reactive. It says a Convocation character may spend 2 power during the power phase to play this card. I believe that's the same. This round, when an enemy character targets an allied character with a physical attack, you may change that attack type to Mystic. Here is the part that has changed. When an allied non-grunt character is KO'd, after the effect is resolved, you may return this card to your Team Tactics card, and this card may be played again this game. So they have specified non-grunt now. That used to be a really popular strategy in Convocation, was running grunt characters, letting them get KO'd, relatively frequently to bring back this card, which is a really, really powerful card for Convocation. So that's definitely a big deal for Convocation, having that card nerfed a little bit there. All right, relatively minor one here. The Daughters of Thanos card has been buffed a little bit. The card text overall hasn't changed much. It's just the power cost has gone down to 1 from the 2 it was before. So for those unfamiliar, basically when one of them makes an attack, they can both spend 1 power and the other one immediately gets to make an attack as well, targeting the same character. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that card being a little bit better because I do really, really like it thematically. So I would love to see play more often. The other big one is This Is Our Robbery has been errated, as we kind of suspected when we were seeing the lack of removal of it, but the removal of mission objective. And as far as I can tell, the only change to it, but a very significant one, is the power cost has gone up to 4 power to play the card. That is a lot more to ask for Rhino. He's not going to be able to play this round 1 almost ever unless he has a really good builder going for him. So yeah, this is going to be a really, really solid change just for the health of the game. I think it's still a solid card. I think you still bring it if you're bringing Rhino. Yeah, I think it's still a great card to have, but it is going to make it a little bit more costly to play it. So glad to see that change because I definitely think that card could use it. All right, so the next change here is online and operational. This is Sentinel's card, and effectively the effect is still the same, but the power cost again was the change here. So they've dropped it from the 8 power it was before down to only 4. That is much more reasonable, and I think, yeah, that's a nice buff. I don't think it's enough to make Sentinels good, but it's definitely really nice to see that card be a little bit better, and just, anything to help Sentinels is really, really nice. All right, for these next two, they just cleaned up the wording a little bit. Versatile strategy just had a slight rewording here, and Dark Empowerment actually just says another allied, or during, sorry, rather, during an allied character's activation now, whereas before it just said during a character's activation, so technically you could try to play it on your opponent's turn, I guess. Oh no, but it was active before, so yeah, it really hasn't changed. It's just cleaned up wording here. Joint effort also just had a slight cleanup here. At least I think it's just a cleanup. It says during the next attack action, whereas before it just said during the next attack. However, before it also said it adds 2 dice to each of its attacks, so I'm pretty sure this already worked with beams and areas and things like that. But if it didn't before, it definitely does now. So, yeah, that might have been a buff. That might have just been a like FAQ thing that has now been written on the card properly. And I believe that does bring us to the end of this document. This one doesn't look like it had any changes. Again, if I missed something on here, do let me know in the comments below. But I think I got everything that actually changed. Maybe I missed like a power change or something like that here and there. I hope not. But yeah, that is all of the updated Team Tactics cards. So nothing too crazy. Most of these had already been errated in the past, and we're just getting physical versions presumably coming in some sort of card pack. They didn't actually mention that I caught, but big changes to stuff like Ironbound books or This Is a Robbery. Um, Hopefully Sentinel players are happier with online and operational now. I do think seeing that card buffed is really nice for them. We'll see if it's enough to actually make them a little bit more relevant. But yeah, really, really nice changes here. So that is going to do it for this video. Yeah, there's some really exciting stuff here. They showed us a lot of really, really cool cards for some of the new characters. Some cool, just like generics. I do really like Survival just as a generic tactics card, and I'm definitely going to play around with some of the places that might be really good. Really liking the look of Mephisto as well. I'm excited to see more about him. Hopefully, they're going to show us more tomorrow. Definitely going to be making a video on that. So if you're interested, definitely stay tuned. Feel free to subscribe if you don't want to miss any of those sorts of updates, or just catch their streams yourselves. That works as well, whatever you want to do. But yeah, this has been a really cool update. I wasn't actually expecting to get nearly this much out of today, so really happy to see all of the things that they revealed here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys happy with the cards? Do you guys think these are good cards? I'm really happy with them. I think most of these are going to be really, really solid. They're going to see a lot of play. Love the other things they kind of revealed with them. They gave us a little bit of information about Mephisto and how he's going to work. They gave us, New Mutants is going to be an affiliation. That's also really, really cool. So super excited about that. Very excited about the rotation as a competitive player. That's really, really nice to see. It's definitely going to freshen up the scene, remove a few things that have been a little problematic. So super happy about that. All in all, I think this is a really good set of changes, so I'm super excited. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Definitely curious to hear what everyone thinks. But that is going to do it for this one. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do drop a like down below. As I said before, please do subscribe if you are new. We're going to be covering all of the remaining Ministravaganza things. I guess it's only one more day, but we also do battle reports and things like that here on the channel. So if you're a fan of any of that stuff, feel free to jump on in. That is going to do it for this one. So until next time, have a great day, everybody. Peace.